The champagne glass trembles in Jasmine's hand, catching fractured rainbows from the $20,000 crystal chandelier overhead. The jazz quartet has gone silent. 50 of the East Coast's elite women in Chanel, men in bespoke Tom Ford, have stopped mid-conversation, their eyes fixed on the massive projection screen that has just flickered to life behind my sister. She stands on the raised platform in our parents' living room, her Vera Wang gown gleaming like freshly fallen snow, that 5-carat diamond engagement ring catching the light as she gestures toward the dark corner where I'm stationed at the audio console. "Thank you to my poor sister Jordan," she says, her voice dripping with practiced sympathy, "who always accepts living in the shadows so I can shine." The room erupts in polite laughter. I see my mother's satisfied smile. My father, Lucas, nods approvingly from the front row. But Aidan Caldwell, tech billionaire, my sister's fiancé, the man who was supposed to seal her ascent into the stratosphere of wealth, doesn't laugh. He releases her hand like it's contaminated. He pulls out the iPad controlling the smart home system. His fingers move across the screen with the precision of a surgeon making an incision. "Interesting," he says, his voice cutting through the laughter like a scalpel through silk. "Let's see what the data says about who really owns this house." The projection screen behind Jasmine shifts. Her engagement photo slideshow vanishes, replaced by something else entirely. That is the moment my sister's life ends, right at her own engagement party. But the fuse for this explosion wasn't lit in the ballroom. It was lit 4 months ago, not in a chandelier-filled hall, but in the dark. The road to this destruction was forged in the stifling mechanical heat of the converted storage closet that served as my office. The server racked like angry hornets, radiating waves of warmth that made sweat bead at my temples despite the October chill outside. On my dual monitors, the 3D CAD rendering of the glass house rotated slowly, all clean lines and impossible angles. A cliffside masterpiece designed to make whoever lived there feel like they were floating above the Atlantic. The digital clock in the corner read 11:47 p.m. I had been there since 6 that morning. Through the security camera feed on my second monitor, the one I was not supposed to know about, I watched my sister Jasmine in the main office. The glass-walled, air-conditioned, light-flooded space that should have been mine. She was scrolling through wedding dress websites, her perfect manicure clicking against her smartphone screen. Every few minutes, she laughed at something, probably a text from one of her society friends. She hadn't opened AutoCAD once that day. My phone buzzed. A text from Jasmine. "Need you to revise the wedding invitation design. Aidan says the current font looks cheap. Fix it by morning." I stared at the message. The invitation I designed. During my lunch break, which she took credit for, I zoomed in on the glass railing detail in the blueprint, the one Aidan specifically asked about the month before. The one Jasmine waved off as boring technical stuff. I ran the horizontal load calculation for the 3rd time, adjusting the laminate thickness to exceed state building code requirements by 40%. Because when you were designing a home for someone else's children to grow up in, you didn't cut corners. Even if that someone was marrying your sister. Even if she was taking credit for every calculation you made. The closet door opened without warning. My father filled the doorframe, his 6'2" frame blocking out the hallway light. Lucas Price, president of Price & Co., still wearing his suit at midnight like he was auditioning for a corporate thriller. "Working late?" he asked, though it wasn't really a question. The glass railing calculations. "Good," Caldwell called earlier. "He's concerned about the timeline." He stepped into the cramped space, and suddenly there was no oxygen left. I reminded him that this firm has never missed a deadline. "Don't make me a liar, Jordan." The trap agreement sat between us like a landmine. Training repayment agreement provision, $50,000. I allegedly owed the company for professional development if I quit before 5 years were up. 5 years of working in this closet while Jasmine took credit for my designs. 5 years of earning $35,000 annually, while she pulled $120,000 as lead designer. 3 years and 2 months left on my sentence. "I won't let you down," I said. The words automatic. Pavlovian. "You'd better not. Your sister's wedding depends on this project." He adjusted his cufflinks. "Cartier. Probably worth more than my car. Jasmine is building something bigger than you could ever understand. The Caldwell connection will transform this firm, transform our family name. Transform Jasmine," I thought. "The rest of us are just the scaffolding." He left without closing the door. I listened to his footsteps fade down the hallway, then returned to my screen. The glass house rotated silently, beautiful and perfect, and completely uncredited. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Jasmine. Also need you to call the caterer tomorrow. Aiden wants to add a sushi station. You know what he likes. I did know what he liked, because I was the one who sat through the 3-hour consultation meeting where he explained his vision for the house, where he talked about wanting floor-to-ceiling windows so his future children could watch the sunrise over the ocean, where Jasmine scrolled through Instagram and said, "Yes, honey," at appropriate intervals. I saved my work and pulled up my personal folder hidden 3 subfolders deep, password protected. Inside were 73 completed architectural designs, houses I had created in stolen hours between assigned projects. Each one signed, Jordan Price, Architect, in the bottom right corner. In this folder, I existed. I was about to close it when I noticed the file properties. Total hours logged, 1,847. That was 1,847 hours of my life, spent building a career in secret, in a closet, while my sister built her throne in the glass office. The cursor hovered over the delete button. It would have been so easy, erasing the evidence of my own ambition, accepting that Jasmine was the architect and I was just the ghost in the machine. Instead, I created a new folder. Titled it, Evidence. I did not know why yet, just instinct. The following morning, the conference room smelled like expensive coffee and Jasmine's Tom Ford perfume. Aiden Caldwell sat at the head of the table in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my annual salary, his tablet opened in front of him. My sister perched beside him in a white power suit, her engagement ring prominently displayed every time she gestured. I was tucked in the corner, labeled Technical Assistant on the meeting agenda. My role: take notes, stay silent, provide information only when directly asked. I've been reviewing the structural plans, Aiden said, his finger tracing the glass railing on his tablet screen. This section, the cantilevered deck. Is this safe for small children? What's the horizontal load resistance required by state building code? Jasmine's smile didn't waver. Oh, honey, don't worry about the boring technical details. It looks romantic, and that's what matters. Trust me, I've spent months perfecting the aesthetic. I'm asking about engineering. Aiden's voice was patient, but I caught the edge underneath. What's the load rating? Jasmine's eyes flickered to me for a microsecond, a silent command, but her mouth kept moving. The glass is very strong, top of the line. Jordan handles all the numbers stuff. Disappointment flashed across Aiden's face. It was subtle, just a tightening around his eyes, but I saw it. I had been watching people be disappointed in me my entire life. I recognized the expression. I instinctively leaned forward, unable to watch the firm's reputation crumble. Actually, the railing uses triple laminated tempered glass rated for 500 pounds per linear foot, which exceeds the state requirement of 200 pounds by... Crack. Pain exploded in my shin. Lucas's shoe, slamming into my leg under the table with practiced precision. The kind of strike that didn't leave visible bruises, but sent a clear message. I swallowed the rest of my sentence. What Jordan means? My father said smoothly, his hand on my shoulder in a gesture that looked fatherly but felt like a vice, is that all technical specifications have been verified by our engineering consultant. We have full certification documentation available upon request. Aiden's gaze shifted between me and my father, calculating. I'd like to see those certifications. Email them by the end of day. Of course, Jasmine said brightly, already moving to the next topic. Now, about the master bathroom, I was thinking about Calacatta marble. The meeting continued. I sat in silence, my shin throbbing, and typed notes I'd later transform into the certifications Aiden requested. Certifications Jasmine would send under her name. As we were leaving, Aiden stopped beside my chair. Jordan, right? I nodded, not trusting my voice. You know your building codes, he said it casually, but his eyes were sharp. Assessing. She's very thorough with the details, Lucas interjected, steering Aiden toward the door. That's why we keep her on the technical team. Everyone has their role. Aiden glanced back once before he left. I pretended to be absorbed in my laptop. That night, back in my closet office, I opened the evidence folder, added a new file, meeting, notes, 10 15 txt. I typed. Aiden Caldwell asked about glass railing specifications. Jasmine couldn't answer. I provided technical data. Lucas kicked me to maintain silence. I stared at the words. I wondered what I was doing, who I was doing it for. Then I saved the file and returned to work on the glass house, making sure every calculation was perfect. Because even if no one would ever know I designed it, I would know. And I refused to let my sister's incompetence result in someone's child falling through a defective railing. My phone buzzed. Jasmine. Wedding emergency. Need you to call 3 florists and get quotes for peonies. Aiden loves peonies. Due tomorrow. I looked at the clock. 1:23 a.m. I picked up my phone and started making a list of florists to call in the morning. Because that was what ghosts did. We served. We did not speak. Not yet. Time blurred as the project deadline approached. The calendar on the wall mocked me, counting down the days until the deadline, until that night, 2 nights before the engagement party. The instant ramen cups formed a small graveyard around my keyboard, 4 empty ones. Testimony to meals eaten without leaving the closet. My forehead rested against the spacebar, and I was dimly aware that I had been asleep for maybe 20 minutes when the AutoCAD autosave ping jolted me awake. The clock read 2:17 a.m. My neck screamed in protest as I lifted my head. The door opened. Panic flooded my system. Lucas did random checks sometimes, making sure I wasn't wasting company time. I frantically minimized the wedding planner spreadsheet I was working on, unpaid labor for Jasmine, and pulled up the glass house blueprints. But it wasn't my father's cologne that filled the small space. It was something more expensive, more subtle. Aiden Caldwell stood in the doorway wearing a Stanford hoodie and jeans, holding an insulated high-end delivery bag from Matsuhisa. He looked confused, then shocked, then something else I couldn't quite read. Jordan? He looked around the closet, the server racks, the single fluorescent light, the complete absence of windows. What? Where's Jasmine? My mouth had forgotten how to form words. Aiden Caldwell was in my office. At 2 a.m., holding what looked like takeout from a restaurant where dinner for 2 cost $400. She's not here, I managed. But the system alert. He held up his phone, showing the smart home app. The office server activity triggered a notification. I thought. He trailed off, understanding dawning. I thought she was here working on our house. The "our house" hit different than it should have. Like he was already emotionally invested in the building that existed only in blueprints and my exhausted brain. He set the thermal bag down on the only clear corner of my desk, next to my $2 instant ramen cups. Sushi, he said absently, and truffle fries, kept warm in the insulated bag. The contrast was almost physically painful. Truffle fries and artisan sushi next to preservative-laden noodles. Jasmine told me you didn't know how to use AutoCAD, he said slowly, his eyes on my screen. She said you were just support staff. I didn't respond. Couldn't respond. The fear was still too ingrained. Aiden leaned closer to the screen, and I resisted the urge to minimize it. He was seeing the detailed cross-sections I was working on, the specific safety adjustments he had asked for 3 months prior. The ones Jasmine said were too complicated to implement. He straightened, pulled out his phone, and opened something. The edit logs, he muttered, scrolling. The system tracks every user's time in AutoCAD. My heart hammered against my ribs. 480 hours logged under your account on this project. He looked at me, and there was something dangerous in his expression. Not angry. Colder than that. Jasmine's account shows 2 hours, both spent renaming files. The last active login was 14 weeks ago. The fluorescent light hummed above us. The server racks maintained their angry hornet symphony. I waited for the world to end. Instead, Aiden sat down on the floor, just dropped into a cross-legged position like this cramped closet was his meditation space. He opened the thermal bag and pulled out a container of sashimi. When was the last time you ate something that didn't come from a microwave? He asked. I don't know. He held out the container. Eat. Then tell me what the hell is going on. I should have refused. Should have maintained the illusion. But I was so tired, and the tuna belly looked like jewels, and something in Aiden's expression said he already knew the truth anyway. I took the container. The first bite made me want to cry. She's at Avalon, I said quietly. The club downtown. Bottle service with her friends. Aiden's jaw tightened. While I thought she was here working on our future home. She does this a lot. The words tumbled out before I could stop them. She has me log into her laptop remotely and move the mouse every 20 minutes so the system shows activity. Makes it look like she's working late. Jesus Christ. He scrubbed his hand through his hair. What else? And maybe it was exhaustion, or maybe it was the fact that someone was finally asking. But I told him. The trap agreement, the stolen trust fund, the wedding planning I did unpaid. The meeting where Lucas kicked me for speaking up. The 4 years of designing buildings that would have Jasmine's signature in the corner. Aiden listened without interrupting. His expression got progressively more glacial. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then, I came here because I thought I was marrying someone dedicated to building beautiful things. Someone who understands that architecture is about creating spaces where people build their lives. He looked at the screen, at my blueprints. I thought I was marrying an architect. Jasmine is a fraud, he said it clinically, like diagnosing a software bug. And I'm an idiot who was so caught up in the aesthetics that I didn't check the source code. He stood, pulling out his phone. I need you to help me run a forensic audit. Every project file, every financial transaction, every communication log. Can you do that? If Lucas finds out, your father's trap agreement is worth less than the paper it's printed on. My legal team will shred it in about 48 hours. Pro bono. He met my eyes. I will not marry a fraud, Jordan, and I will not let your family trap you in this closet for another 3 years. Help me compile the evidence, and I'll set you free. Freedom. The word sounded foreign. Impossible. What's the catch? I asked. No catch. Just one condition. I need the absolute truth. Every file, every discrepancy, everything they've stolen from you. Can you do that without your fear getting in the way? I thought about the evidence folder buried in my hard drive. The meeting notes, the work logs. 4 years of documentation I'd been keeping without knowing why. I can do that, I said. Aiden extended his hand. Not for a handshake for my phone. Give me your number. We'll coordinate through a secure VPN. Nothing they can trace. I handed over my phone. I watched him type his contact information. When he handed it back, his name was listed as technical consultant in my contacts. Innocuous. Smart. 48 hours, he said, heading for the door. Then we burn it all down. After he left, I sat in the silence of my closet office, holding a container of $80 sushi, and let myself imagine what freedom might look like. Then I opened the evidence folder and got to work. The sun rose on the day before the engagement, casting long shadows across my bedroom floor. I was holding a navy blue dress I had bought from a clearance rack for $89. It meant 2 weeks of skipped lunches and walking 3 miles each way to save on gas. But when I looked in the mirror, I saw someone who might exist outside a storage closet. Someone who might attend her sister's engagement party as a guest rather than as help. I was holding the dress when my mother walked into my bedroom without knocking. What is that? Meredith Price asked, her former model posture making even her bathrobe look regal. It's for tomorrow night. For the party. Her hand shot out, snatched the dress from my grip. Are you trying to upstage your sister? It's navy blue. It's modest. I just thought. You thought wrong. She balled up the dress and threw it in my wastebasket. From her other hand, she produced a black, shapeless garment that looked like a janitorial uniform. You're working at the tech booth. You wear this. Jasmine is the queen tomorrow night. You are the help. Wear this and stay in the shadows. In the past, even 3 days prior, I would have cried. Would have retrieved the dress from the trash after she left and cried over the wrinkles. I would have hated myself for wanting something as simple as looking presentable at a family event, but that day, I thought of the USB drive in my pocket, the one loaded with 3 months of forensic analysis. Bank statements showing $200,000 in construction materials that were actually charged at Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and the Four Seasons. Server logs proving I designed every building Jasmine had taken credit for. Text messages she sent her ex-boyfriend. I took the black uniform from my mother. Bowed my head. Yes, ma'am. She looked satisfied. Good girl. Remember, Jordan family comes first. Your sister's happiness is all that matters. After she left, I picked the navy dress out of the trash, smoothed out the wrinkles, and hung it in the back of my closet. Not to wear tomorrow, but to remind myself what I was fighting for. My phone buzzed. A text from technical consultant. Phase 1 complete. Legal confirmed. Trap agreement contains 14 violations of state labor law. It's void. Are you ready for Phase 2? I typed back, ready. 3 dots appeared. Then, good. Because tomorrow night, we're going to redefine what family comes first actually means. Later that afternoon, the VPN connection was established at 4:47 p.m. Jasmine was at the Ritz Day Spa, getting the full bride treatment, $800 of facials and massages that she charged to the Glass House construction budget. My parents were at the estate, directing the party setup. I was alone in the office, with full access to every file in the company server. Okay. Aiden's voice came through my headset, calm and methodical. I'm running a custom script to cross-reference the Glass House budget against external vendor databases. It'll chew through the raw data faster than we can manually. Start with the materials. Running it now, I said, initiating the algorithm he sent over. The screen flickered as the script ran. 20%, 50%, 100%. A list of red flags populated the screen. It was a bloodbath. Jesus, Aiden breathed. She billed $15,000 for imported Italian tile on the same day she posted Instagram photos at Hermes buying bags. There's more. I highlighted the next cluster. The custom lighting fixtures line item? That's actually her bachelorette weekend in Monaco. How much? $35,000. Christ. He was quiet for a moment. She's not just lazy, Jordan. This is embezzlement. This is fraud. I pulled up the next file. And the next. Each one more damning than the last. Construction budgets pillaged for personal luxury. Client deposits diverted to private accounts. Materials quotes inflated by 300% with the difference pocketed. Why did you stay? Aiden asked suddenly. Why did you endure this? I looked at the blueprints on my second monitor. The glass house, rotating slowly. Because I love these buildings. And because I thought if I just worked hard enough, eventually they'd see me. Eventually, I'd earn their respect. That's not how it works with people like them. His voice was gentle but firm. They don't respect hard work. They exploit it. I know that now. Do you? Because tomorrow night, when this all comes out, they're going to say terrible things. They're going to call you ungrateful, disloyal, a traitor to the family. Are you prepared for that? I thought about my mother throwing my dress in the trash, my father's shoe connecting with my shin, Jasmine's text about making me work like a dog. Yes, I said. I'm prepared. Cree, I'm prepared. Good. Because we're not just exposing Jasmine tomorrow, we're going after all of them. Lucas signed off on those fraudulent invoices. Your mother witnessed the trap agreement. They're all complicit. I know? And you're okay with that? I closed my eyes. I saw myself at 22, freshly graduated, signing the trap agreement while my father smiled and called it protecting the family business. Saw my grandmother's trust fund, $50,000 meant for my future transferred to buy company shares in Jasmine's name. I saw 4 years of my life spent invisible in a closet while they built an empire on my uncredited work. Family doesn't trap you in debt. I said, family doesn't steal your future. Whatever I had with them, it wasn't family. No, Aiden agreed. It wasn't. We worked through the evening, compiling the final presentation. Every slide was a kill shot. Every piece of evidence was irrefutable. By 11 p.m., we had something that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. Tomorrow night, Aiden said, I need you to do exactly 3 things. First, set up the presentation on the projection system but keep it hidden until I give you the signal. Second, make sure the intercom in the tech booth is live. I want audio documentation of everything. Third, when it's over, walk out the front door and don't look back. Can you do that? Yes. Jordan. His voice softened. After tomorrow, your life changes completely. Are you ready for that? I thought about the Vermont property listing I'd been secretly browsing. The studio space with massive windows. The sign I'd already designed in my head. Jordan Price, architect. I've been ready for 4 years, I said. Then let's go build you a new life. 30 minutes before the first guest arrived, the engagement party had transformed our parents' estate into something from a magazine spread. White roses everywhere, $12,000 worth. I knew because I vetted the florist's quote. the $20,000 crystal chandelier throwing prismatic light across marble floors. 75 guests in designer labels worth more than my car's blue book value. And me, in the black uniform, tucked in the dark tech booth in the corner, wearing headphones, surrounded by audio equipment and the laptop controlling the presentation system, invisible, as always. Through the booth's window, I watched Jasmine float through the crowd in her custom Vera Wang engagement dress. White silk, off-shoulder, the kind of dress that cost more than I earned in 6 months. The 5-carat diamond on her finger caught the light with every gesture. She was radiant, perfect, the picture of success. No one knew she was wearing a costume overwrought. I ran a final systems check. Microphones, live. Projection screen, ready. Presentation file, loaded and waiting. My hands were steady. I expected them to shake, but they didn't. 4 years of suppressed rage had a way of crystallizing into cold precision. The party was in full swing when the door to the tech booth flew open. Jasmine stormed in. Her face was twisted with irritation, a glimpse of the ugliness she usually hid so well. "There's feedback on the main microphone," she hissed. "Fix it." "I'm working on it." "Work faster. God, you're useless." She leaned against the doorframe, pulling out her phone. Then she seemed to remember something. Smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "You know what's funny, Jordan? After tomorrow, after I'm Mrs. Caldwell, I'm going to fire you. Kick you out on the street with nothing." She examined her manicure. Casual cruelty made elegant. "But I'm keeping your trap contract. Daddy's transferring it to me as a wedding gift. You'll work as my personal assistant to pay off the debt. Or you'll go to jail for breach of contract. Your choice." My hands paused on the keyboard. "Personal assistant? Oh, you'll love it. Picking up my dry cleaning, scheduling my hair appointments, making sure my coffee is the right temperature. All the things you're actually qualified for." She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "You'll spend the rest of your life in my shadow, where you belong. And if you ever try to speak up, ever try to claim credit for anything, I'll destroy you. I'll tell everyone you're a jealous, delusional liar who tried to sabotage your own sister's happiness." She was close enough now that I could smell her perfume, see the cruel satisfaction in her eyes. "You'll rot in that closet until I don't need you anymore. Then you'll rot somewhere worse. Because you're nothing, Jordan. You've always been nothing. And nothing is all you'll ever be." She didn't know 3 things. The intercom system was live. Every word was being recorded. Aiden was in the VIP lounge with an earpiece, hearing everything, and I stopped being afraid approximately 48 hours prior. I looked up at her, met her eyes directly for the first time in years. "Happy engagement, Jasmine. I hope you like my gift." Confusion flickered across her face. "What gift?" "You'll see." She stared at me for another moment, then scoffed and left. Through the window, I watched her rejoin Aiden on the platform, instantly transforming back into the radiant bride-to-be. But Aiden's body language had changed. He stood a meter apart from her instead of close, didn't take her hand when she reached for his. His face was a mask of professional courtesy covering something arctic underneath. My phone buzzed. A text from technical consultant. "Heard every word. She's done. Stand by for my signal." I put on my headphones, pulled up the presentation file, and waited for the moment that would change everything. Through the window, I saw the jazz quartet positioning for Jasmine's toast. The guests gathered with champagne glasses. My parents stood proud and satisfied in the front row. They had no idea the floor was about to drop out from under them. My finger hovered over the enter key. Showtime. And now, we are back at the beginning. Time 0. Jasmine ascends the platform like she's mounting a throne. The chandelier above her creates a halo effect, angelic, ethereal, exactly the image she spent 29 years cultivating. She raises her champagne glass, and the crowd falls silent in that expectant way that means someone important is about to speak. "Thank you all for coming tonight." She begins, her voice clear and confident. "This has been such an incredible journey, and I'm so grateful to share this moment with the people who've supported me." She pauses for effect, then turns toward my dark corner. Especially my sister Jordan, who's always accepted her place in the shadows so I can shine. It takes a special kind of person to be satisfied with so little, to never want more than what they're given. Thank you, Jordan, for being that person. The room laughs. Polite, condescending laughter. My mother dabs at her eyes like Jasmine just delivered a touching tribute instead of a public humiliation. Lucas nods approvingly. But Aiden doesn't laugh. He releases Jasmine's hand she has to grab at air when she reaches for him again. He pulls out the iPad controlling the smart home system, his face absolutely neutral. It's the expression I imagine he wears during hostile takeover negotiations. Interesting, he says into the microphone, his voice cutting through the laughter like a blade through silk. Let's see what the data says about who really deserves to shine. He looks toward the tech booth, makes direct eye contact with me through the window. I press enter. On my control monitor, the feed changes. I know the massive 100-inch screen behind Jasmine is mirroring exactly what I see. Her carefully curated engagement slideshow, professional photos of the happy couple, romantic shots at sunset, images of them touring their future home vanishes. Replaced by something else entirely. Slide 1. Work logs, the Glass House Project. Jordan Price, 480 hours logged. Jasmine Price, 2 hours logged last active. 14 weeks ago. File renaming operations only. The room goes quiet, not the expectant quiet from before. Something heavier. That's just technical back-end stuff. Jasmine says quickly, her voice faltering. Jordan handles the boring computer work while I focus on the actual design. Aiden clicks to the next slide. Slide 2. Text message exchange. Between Jasmine Price and Marcus Vance, September 3rd. Jasmine. Aiden is boring but loaded. Once we're married, I'm taking his black card and shopping until I drop. Jordan will have to work like a dog so I can relax. Marcus. Cold-blooded. I love it. Jasmine. The best part? I'm making Jordan work as my personal slave after the wedding. She's so pathetic she'll actually do it. The crowd's murmur is no longer polite. It's a shock, disgust, the sound of social standing crumbling in real time. Jasmine's face has gone white. That's fake. That's someone doctored those texts. Aiden, honey, you know I would never. Next slide, Aiden says coldly. Slide 3. Financial records. Glass house construction budget. Material discrepancies. $15,000 imported Italian tile. Actual. Hermes bags. September 15th. $35,000 custom lighting fixtures. Actual. Monaco bachelorette trip. October 2nd. $28,000 architectural consultation fees. Actual. 4 seasons. Spa packages. Multiple dates. $47,000 premium hardwood flooring. Actual. Cartier jewelry. August 30th. Total misappropriated funds. $200,000. The champagne glass slips from Jasmine's hand. It hits the marble floor and explodes into glittering shards. Do you like your gift, Jasmine? I think, watching the color drain from her face. It's custom made, just for you. Those were legitimate business expenses, my father says, stepping forward. Lucas Price, president of Price & Co. Those charges were approved. By you, Aiden clicks again, which makes this conspiracy to commit fraud. Slide 4. Authorization signatures. Every falsified invoice, every fraudulent charge, bearing my father's signature. Every inflated quote and diverted deposit approved by Lucas Price himself. This is a misunderstanding, my father blusters, but his face has gone gray. We can explain the accounting. To the IRS? Aiden gestures to his phone. Because I've already forwarded these documents to federal investigators. They're very interested in your creative bookkeeping. My mother grabs my father's arm. Jasmine is frozen on the platform, her perfect facade cracking like porcelain under pressure. Aiden reaches up and rips the white rose boutonniere from his lapel. He throws it on the floor, into the empty space separating him from Jasmine, a jagged line drawn in crushed petals. Jasmine, I will not marry a fraud. His voice is clinical now, the warmth completely gone. Under state law, this ring is a conditional gift. Since the marriage will not occur due to your fault, you're required to return it, immediately. Aiden, please. Jasmine's voice breaks, actual tears now, smearing her professional makeup. I can explain. You can explain to your lawyer. He turns to my father. Lucas, I'm formally suing Price & Co. for contract fraud, misrepresentation, and embezzlement. I'm seeking $1.5 million in damages. Good luck explaining that missing $200,000 to the IRS. The file was automatically forwarded when I activated this presentation. My father's face transforms from gray to crimson. You arrogant. You can't just... We have contracts. Legal protections. Your contracts are built on fraud. They're worthless. Aiden's voice could freeze nitrogen. And speaking of worthless contracts, he turns toward the tech booth. Toward me. Jordan Price. I've purchased your trap agreement debt from your father for $1. As of 6 p.m. today, that contract is void. I've also transferred $240,000 to your personal account back payment for 480 hours of architectural work at the industry standard rate of $500 per hour. You are free. The room spins. $240,000. Free. Additionally, Aiden continues, I'm offering you a position as lead architect on the Glass House project. Your project. Your design. Your name on the blueprints. 50% salary increase from what this firm was paying you, plus full benefits and creative control. I stand up in the tech booth. Remove my headphones with hands that have started shaking now, not from fear, but from something that feels like waking up after being in a coma for 4 years. Jordan, don't you dare. My mother hisses from across the room. Family comes first. You owe us. I owe you nothing. My voice sounds strange to my own ears. Stronger than I remember it. You stole my trust fund. You trapped me in debt. You erased my existence while profiting from my work. That's not family. That's exploitation. I walk out of the tech booth, not to the platform. To the front door. If you walk out that door, you're dead to us, Lucas snarls. You'll have nothing. No one. You're throwing away your family for my life, I say, which is more than you ever gave me. Jasmine makes one last desperate play. She drops to her knees, hands clasped, the 5-carat ring glittering. Jordan, please. We're sisters. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Don't do this. Don't destroy everything we've built. Everything I built, I correct quietly, which you stole. Goodbye, Jasmine. I open the front door. The October air hits my face cold and clean and free. Behind me, I hear my mother sobbing, my father shouting threats about lawsuits and consequences. Jasmine screams that I'm a traitor, that I'm nothing without them, but their voices get quieter with every step I take down the driveway. By the time I reach my car, I can barely hear them at all. 18 months later, the sunlight floods through floor-to-ceiling windows, turning my studio into something that feels more like a dream than a workspace. The view from my Vermont property stretches across snow-covered hills, no glass walls boxing me in, no server racks humming their angry song, just space, light, air. The sign outside reads in clean modern letters, Jordan Price Architects, my name, my firm, my designs. I'm reviewing blueprints for a sustainable housing project, 3 families who saved for years to afford custom homes. Nothing like the Glass House's luxury budget, but the work means something. These clients cry when I show them the renderings. They're building futures, not status symbols. My assistant, Claire, a recent architecture grad who reminds me of my younger self, pokes her head through the office door. Boss, Caldwell Group is online too. They want to discuss a new project. I smile, picking up the phone. Aiden, what impossible building do you want me to create this time? Something challenging. His voice is warm. We've maintained a professional friendship. He's referred 6 major clients to my firm. A children's hospital. Needs to feel hopeful, not clinical. Thought of you immediately. Send me the brief. I'll have concepts by next week. After we hang up, I walk to the window with my coffee. Actual good coffee, not instant, and look out at the landscape. My phone buzzes with a news alert. Price & Co. declares bankruptcy following federal investigation. I don't click the article. I already know the story. The IRS audit uncovered years of fraud beyond just my family's schemes. Clients sued. The firm collapsed. My parents lost the estate to foreclosure last I heard. They're in a small apartment in a suburb they used to mock. Jasmine's story made the society pages for a while. The ring returned. The engagement was destroyed. Her name became synonymous with fraud in architecture circles. She's working retail now, according to a mutual acquaintance. A mall in New Jersey. living in the kind of cramped apartment she used to laugh at me for deserving. I don't feel triumphant about their downfall. I don't feel vindictive. I just feel free. The glass house was eventually completed with my name in the corner of every blueprint, my signature on every structural document. It won 3 design awards. Started my career in a way the closet never could. But the building I'm proudest of isn't the glass house. It's the studio I'm standing in, the one I designed for myself, where every window placement, every angle of light, every inch of space represents a choice I made, where I'm not hiding in shadows or stealing hours to exist, where I'm finally, completely visible. Claire appears again, this time holding a portfolio. The Hartford couple is here for their final walkthrough meeting. Ready? Claire appears again. I gather my materials, sketches, renderings, material samples, all original work, all credited properly, all mine. Ready, I say. As I walk into the conference room, in my building, in my life, I catch my reflection in the glass. I'm wearing a navy blue dress, the one I pulled from the trash 18 months ago. The one I saved as a reminder. I don't need reminders anymore, but I wear it anyway, because the woman in this dress isn't the ghost in the closet. She's the architect who built herself a new life from the ashes of the old one, and she's just getting started.